Okay, so we're going to continue on in the video. This video is with page 246, and up here you can keep track. If you want to fast forward or if you want to rewind, you can keep track of the numbers that I'm working on. So as a number gets highlighted in red and bolded, then that's the number that I'm working on. So you can fast forward or rewind to those specific problems that you feel you need the most help with. So we're starting off with number 15 here, and it's asking us to graph this equation right here. This equation is in the point-slope form, which is right up there. Okay, point-slope. Okay, so when you have an equation in point-slope form, it's giving you two pieces of information. The first one is it's giving you a point. So I have highlighted in red, these are my points. So this is my x in my coordinate, and this is my y in my coordinate. And then here, of course, I have my slope, my m. So as I look at this equation here, I'm going to change colors. I look at my m position, and I'm already given my slope. So there's my slope. So that's the first thing that I need for my equation, but that's not the only thing. I need first, and I need one point, right? So if I look, as I look at my x1, my equation is x minus, so x minus 2, so that means my x, my point, is 2, my x coordinate. Now I look at my y, the y portion of my equation, which is right here, okay, the left side of the equation, that's y minus, and then my y coordinate. So here it's y plus 3, so that must mean it must have had a y minus a negative 3, because that y minus negative 3 turns into y plus 3. So that means that my y coordinate, my y1, is actually negative 3. Let me erase that little piece there that I got there. Okay, so that's what that means. So there's my first point. So now I have enough information to actually graph my, my line. So let's do that. Here's my point. x2, y negative 3. 1, 2, 3. So there's my first point. And I also have a slope, which is, actually my slope is a negative 2, not a 2. I would have gotten that wrong. So it's negative 2, so that's negative 2 over 1. So that means instead of rising 2, I go down 2. So 1, 2, and then run 1. And there are my 2 points from my line. So now what I need to do is draw my line. Okay? And that is what my line would look like. Okay? And of course it would continue down in this direction as well. Okay, so there's my line for number 15. Now let's move over to number 17. So take note now that I have 17 is highlighted in red and bold, so you know now that I'm working on 17. So later on, if you want to rewind, you can, or fast forward, you can do that. Okay, so that's the last time I'm going to reference this up here. Just know that in the future. So same thing as my previous problem. I want to graph this equation. So I look at my m position right here. Okay, this is my m position, and it's a negative. That must mean I have an assumed 1 there. So my slope is negative 1. And now I'm looking for my x and my y coordinates. So here I have x plus 4, so that, and my equation, my original equation, it's x minus x1. So if it's a plus, that must mean I had an x minus negative 4. So my x1 in fact is negative 4. Okay, now let's look for my y coordinate, which is this portion of the equation. And you'll notice that just like on my right side I have a y plus 8, but my original equation is y minus y1, so that was a y minus negative 8. So my y1, or my y coordinate, in fact is a negative 8. So we can plot that now. And as you can see here, it's going to go a little bit beyond what we have on our graph, but that's okay. So we have negative 4. Okay, negative 4. Let me put that in, let's say blue. Negative 4, and then negative 8, which is negative 6, negative 7. So negative 8 would be right about here. So here's my first point. Unfortunately, my slope is negative 1, which means I need to go back down and then over 1. So it would be right about here. Actually, that's okay. It's still in my graph, so I can still draw my line. So there's my 2 points, and now I want to draw my line. So my line would start right here. Oops. It would start right here, and it would just go on forever in that direction. And there it is. That's my line for this given equation right here. Okay? All right. So let's move on to now number 21. Okay, 21. The problem here is write an equation in point-slope form of this line shown. So this is a line, and I'm reversing now. I'm kind of deconstructing my idea that we've been discussing, and instead of drawing the line this time, now I'm actually working backwards and doing the equation. So let me give you a good yellow color here. So point-slope form. You want to memorize this. You want to write this down as many times as you can. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a second to pause it right here and write down the point-slope formula. Okay, hopefully you wrote this formula because this is the point-slope formula. So recall that point-slope gives me two pieces of information. First, a point, which is, it can be any point on this line. It doesn't matter which point. And then it gives me the slope, right? So let's pick a point. You can pick any one of these two. All right, you pick this one. All right. So this point here is, that's a 3, and my y crosses my y-axis at 1. So there's 3, 1. Actually, sorry, it doesn't cross my y-axis, but my y coordinate is 1. So that's 3, 1. So there's my first point. Here you can say this is my x1, and then this is my y1. Okay? And my slope. Now I need to find my slope. Well, I have a point right here. Okay, let's see how many times it goes up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it rises 4, and then it goes over 1, 2, and it runs 2. So if it rises 4 and runs 2, it's basically 2 over 1, or simply put, just 2. And that's my slope right there. Right? All right, so now let's go ahead and write out our equation. Okay, so that would be y minus, and then my y1 is minus 1 equals my slope 2 times x, and then my x1 coordinate is 3. And there it is. There's my point slope formula for this particular line right here. Okay, I want to quickly remind you when you're writing out your point slope formula that the points that are always replaced are your y1 and your x1. Okay, and the ones that are always left alone are your y and x. So as you can see here, I still have my x and my y, and my y minus y1 and my x1 here. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to stop the video here at this point actually, just so the videos don't get too long. And in the next video we'll have the last 3 problems.